Yo, what's poppin' guys, and welcome to another Scratch tutorial where today we will be continuing how to make a Five Nights at Freddy's game in Scratch. If you remember in the last episode, we focused on how to make this nice little title screen where this button moves behind the static, and he flashes a little bit every once in a while, and you can click that, and the button will go away, meaning we have started the night. Today we will work on the night screen and your office or place of, I don't know, living, or surviving, I guess. So, how we're gonna do it. Basically, right off the bat, is inside of our ugly title guy. I'm going to zoom in a bit. We're going to do when I receive green flag. Or, sorry, not when I receive green flag. When I receive night screen, he is going to wait 0.3 seconds. And he's going to hide. Reason being 0.3 is because we're going to make a new sprite called Fade. It's just a nice little effect so the game doesn't look super choppy. So what I'm going to do is we're going to just make a box that covers the whole screen, and I'm not going to make it black, actually. We're going to make it a dark gray, because dark gray always looks super nice. Perfect. Dark gray, just like that. When I receive green flag, hide. When I receive night screen, we will make a broadcast for fade. And we'll call it fade. And then we will add a when I receive fade. Just because the reason we don't have it underneath here is just because we're going to call to this fade many times, probably. So I'm just going to make a whole thing for it so we can just broadcast fade. So when I receive fade, we will go to 0, 0. Set our ghost effect to 100. Go to front layer and show. This is where this needs to be fixed. Just have this go to front layer on the static instead of in the forever loop, otherwise it'll just cause some issues. Actually, no, that actually would be fine to have that in there. I don't know what I'm talking about. Because if the fade has static over it, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, just for my sake, I'm gonna keep it out. That's up to you. If you want static to go over your fade, make sure go to front is outside of the forever loop. If you want your static to stay, if you want your fade to go over your static, then put your go to front outside of the forever loop, and fade will go to front itself. And then we will grab ourselves a repeat. Let's do 20. Repeat 20 times, where we will change. Not change size. Excuse me. Change ghost effect by -5. The reason 20 times 5 is 100. We have 100 ghost effect to get away, or to take away. So we will minus 50 20 times, -5 minus 20, or -5 times 20 equals -100. It'll take away 100, meaning it'll be 0, meaning it'll be fully shown. So it will then wait, let's say, 2 seconds. And it will do around the same thing, repeat 20 times, except this time changing the ghost effect by 5. 5 times 20 is 100. It'll bring it back to 100, meaning it'll be not visible anymore. And then it will just hide. So let's see what that'll look like right off the bat. We click play. Okay, now you see how he kind of disappeared too quick. So instead it will do maybe 0.5 seconds on our ugly title guy. So when you click, oops, still a little too fast. 0.7. Let's try that. Perfect. And it'll do that, which is completely fine. So this we will do for our static. When I receive fade, wait 0.7 seconds, as that's our good time. And we will hide it. Same, actually no, but that's all we need to do it for. So let's go to our backdrops and set up our night screens. Well, no, actually. We'll make that a sprite. And we'll call this sprite night screens. And what our night screens are exactly what you think they are. Make sure that this backdrop is the same color as your fade, because otherwise it'll look a little weird. So I'm going to make a light gray. Speaking of light gray, while I'm at it, I'm actually going to color in these words as light gray instead of white, because it just looks better. Anyways, night screen, costumes. Let's design this. So this is where you just type in your night 1. Bam, you can put 12 a.m. underneath it if you want to. I'm not going to, so I'll call this night 1. Duplicate this. Night 2. Recenter. Duplicate. Oops, excuse me. Night 3. Go ahead and center. Night 4. Night doesn't even look like a word to me anymore. And you don't even have to worry about renaming it, because if you name it night and then put a number, when you duplicate it, it'll just change the number for you. So don't even worry about that. Night 5. This is this is also where I'll show you what nights we'll be covering. We will be covering the night 6. And that says 7. What am I doing? Night 6. And we will also be covering how to make you a night 7 custom night. So there you go. That's what we'll run over. There you have all your night screens. So, when I receive green flag, hide. When I receive fade, here's where we do some timing. We'll do 0.7 seconds, and it'll show. Right? So in fade, right here, what I want to do is I want to, in these, have them both go to the front layer in these repeats. Just so that this fade stays in front of the night screen. And then once it shows, we will have it wait maybe 3 seconds. And then it will repeat 20 times. Change ghost effect by 5. You're going to want to set your ghost effect at the beginning to 0. Change ghost effect by 5. Hide. And set our... We don't even need to set our ghost effect back, but just in case, I'm going to. Set a ghost effect back to 0 after it's hidden. Let's have a look at what that looks like. So if we play. Does this. Okay. That's what we did. We forgot to fade our... We forgot to make our night go to 0, 0. There we go. Have it set to go to 0, 0. And let's also make this a bit longer. Let's make this 5 seconds. Because you got to keep in mind that the fade's going to be there for a bit. Ooh. Okay. So our static doesn't actually show. I realize that. We never actually set our static to show, so make sure you do that. There we go. Here we are. Hit play. It fades. Night 4. Fades away. Okay. Awesome. 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 Now, let's design ourselves an office. How about that? Ooh, one more thing we have to set up. I forgot. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm going to delete that for now. We're going to make a variable. I'm going to rename this one. We're going to name it night number. Awesome. So when the green flag is clicked, we, by default, set our night number to 0. And when play button is clicked... Well, no. We'll set our night to 1, since that's the one we start on. Our play button, when we click it, we will obviously have it load whichever night it is. So we will do, right before it shows, we will do set costume to night number. There, now whatever night number it is what costume it'll switch to. So for example, if we had our night number set to 4 when we started our game, it should show ours night 4. Night 4, I was right. Okay. Awesome. We're just going to keep that at night 1 for now. And just to make sure that that worked, I'm going to run it one more time. Should say night 1, night 1. Perfect. Okay, awesome. And we're going to have a saving system that will let this save number, by the way. So don't even worry about that. Don't even worry a bit. Right. Now let's set up our office. I hit surprise, excuse me. We're going to do paint, and we're going to call this office. And now's where you get to come up with your little office layout. So, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to start by drawing this. Oops, sorry, that's a fill. I'm sorry. We're going to start by drawing ourselves an office outline. In vector mode, why do I keep I thought I set this fill to empty. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of an office outline. And I'm going to shrink it down a little bit so it's a little bit closer. Bam. Here's our outline on where we can go. I'm going to make this way thicker. Bam. That's our outline of where we can design our office. You can design your office however you want. I'm going to design mine right now, though, and I'll be right back once I'm done. Alright, so I quickly threw together an office, and you might see I have a bunch of costumes here. That's because, you see in mine I have this clock, right? I'm going to make this clock actually display the time. So this is our costume number 12. So the way it works is I have a costume number 1 that is set to 1 o'clock. You don't have to do this. This is completely optional. I'm doing it because I want to show it in-game. If you want to show it via a variable, just make 1. So sprite 1 or costume 1 is named 1 and is on clock 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, truth be told, if we're just going to 6, that's fine. But still add in the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You don't actually have to make them do what they want, but just make sure it's that, or just make them blank, if anything. You just need to make sure that 12 is named 12 and is your 12th costume. That's why I added the middle ones. I'm only going to 6, but I did that anyways. And then make another one called Sizer. That's just a literal dot in the middle. One tiny little dot. And that'll just make sure that we can make the sprite way bigger than we need to. Awesome. Now here's what we're going to do. We are going to come into here. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see. Into our office sprite. And we're going to do when I receive green flag. We are going to do hide. We're going to come into our night screen. Remember this. And we are going to, underneath this 5 seconds, we're going to broadcast night start. Once we have night start, we're going to come back to our office and do when I receive night start. We're going to set its costume to Sizer. We are going to show the office. We are going to set its size to whatever you want now, 130. You're going to have to fumble with a few of these settings, okay? You're going to, depending on how big you made your office, you're going to need to fumble with this size. 130 is what I found works for my specific size. If you want to know my specific size for my office, it's 779 by 389. That's how big my office is. 779 by 389. You can tell just by checking right here. Okay, so I set it to 130. Then after I do that, I switch my costume to 12. And I go to my position, and the position I go to is x equals 0. If you're copying my coordinates exactly, it says x equals 0 and negative 50 is where I like to have it. I will save this office. I will get this office and I will put it in the description for you. Excuse me. So that you can use it as a template to get the size. If I remember. If I don't remember, I'm very sorry. Now what we'll do is we'll grab ourselves a forever loop. And we'll do forever, or we will do forever. Go to y equals negative 50. Go to operators and grab yourself a division. In the second bubble, put -1. And in the first bubble, do mouse X. That should be it if I did everything right. So we play the game. I'll put my mouse in the middle for now. It does our night one. It should just flash onto it. Cool. Now here we are. And you see mine fits pretty well. So when we move our mouse, then it goes across. All this worked out perfectly with my exact size. Let me tell you why it worked out perfectly for me, right? So if this were to be like 125, for example, right? If I were to have this size be 125, you wouldn't think that'd change much until you start your game. And then you realize that everything looks fine until you come over to the side and you can see off the edge. So you can see off the edge of the costume. So that plays a huge role. If I were to have this -1 be like a negative 0.99, literally a singular decimal off of my -1, I'm sure that'd play a factor too. Wait for it to load. We get in. Oh, no, never mind. That one didn't play a factor. Oh, well, yeah, it did. You can kind of see this little black line right here from where I was designing it. So you're going to have to fumble with it until you get it perfectly what you want it. And this is my perfect one. Awesome. We're going to add one more thing. We're going to add a darkness overlay. So I'm going to call this darkness overlay. We are going to set this to a black, and we're going to make a middle. And we're going to make this a lighter gray. Ooh, my goodness. Black, swap it around. Make this one a bit of a darker gray. Alright, awesome. And we'll make it cover the screen. Just like that. Now, when in darkness overlay, when I receive green flag, we will hide. When I receive night start, we will wait maybe 2 seconds. Then we will set our size. Ooh, yeah, what you're going to want to do, I forgot. Make sure you extend these all the way to the corners. We will set the size to 100. We will show. We will set our ghost effect to maybe 30. And we will come into control, grab a forever loop, forever, go to, grab some division symbols, put them in both sides, put divided by 2 on each side, mouse X and mouse Y. Oop, excuse me. You might have to fumble with those numbers a little bit, but if I did it right, we should have a little bit of some darkness now that will cover our screen. Okay, I know we did wrong there. So we need to have it go to the front, because it's probably stuck behind the office right now, because the office shows first. If I did everything right. Maybe change this to a 1. That should be it. Should be it. Yeah, it shows. Okay. Ooh, okay, there it is. So I'm going to keep it like that, actually. Let's change this -2 to a 2, just so it goes the same direction as our mouse instead of the opposite like it was doing. And let's set this to like a 0.5. Okay. Play. Night 1. Okay. 0.5 is still too long. 0.3 maybe. This is a bunch of just trial and error. A lot of this is just trial and error to make sure that your specific scenario works really well for you. For mine, 0.3 is still too long. 0.1. It loads up. God, I guess it just needs to be seriously nothing. I guess we don't even need the wait. In my case. Sorry for this taking so long. I'm very sorry. Okay. Night 1. There we go. We have our overlay now, so it looks like that. Now you see if you bring it off to the side, we have that little bit of gap that I can't actually point at. Well, yes, I could. Right here. I right-clicked, by the way. That's what you can't see it, but I right-clicked so it would stop doing that. You can see we have these things to show that it's not big enough. How do we fix that, you might ask? Very easy. We just come into here, add a sizer. And I'm going to name this overlay, just so we can change the size. So night start, switch costume to sizer, set size to 110, switch costume to overlay, just like that. Perfect. And then when we load in, there we go. Now we don't get that when we move our mouse around, and it's kind of like a little thing that gets brighter wherever your mouse goes. And there we go. If you want to make it a bit brighter, you can change this to a higher number. The higher the number, the brighter it gets. The lower the number, the darker it gets. So let's try this up again with 40 and see how it looks. There we go. Look at that. Awesome. There you go. You have your office. And you see it doesn't move on the y-axis. I only wanted it to move on the x. If you wanted it to move on the y, in theory, you could. You have to make the office really tall then. Same thing. But there we go. There is your left-right office movement. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, then like it. And if you didn't like it anyways, because this series is going to go somewhere. We're going to do some pretty cool stuff with it. While you're at it, why not subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content? That helped me out a lot. We just hit 1,000 subscribers recently, and that's really, really cool. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you very much. Join Discord, link in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.